Welcome back. We've been discussing the regime change in the provision of free and subsidized food grains from an era when 11 kilos were available for 15 rupees maximum for 65% of the population. We are now entering a regime of only 5 kilos for these 81 crore people per person at no cost at all, free. Is this regime change good, is what we've been discussing with Dr. Pronab Sen, Dr. Siraj Hussain and Harish Damodaran. Gentlemen, thank you very much for waiting on. Harish, a more fundamental question. Were all these 81 crore people getting the grains? Is the system of distribution that leak-proof?
I think there's no doubt that the PDS functioning has definitely improved. If you look at it earlier, it was only Kerala and Tamil Nadu and maybe Andhra. But if you see last 10 years, I think even Bihar, UP, of course, it started with Chhattisgarh and Orissa, etc. I would say that, there's nobody, at least, during my election tours and all, I never heard anyone complaining that they did not get their quota of grain,
Okay.
maybe 1 or 2 kilos here and there. So I think definitely in terms of delivering grain to the people, that has improved a lot. Good or bad, I don't know, but definitely the delivery is happening.
And it has improved, if not.
Yeah.
Before I prepared for this, I asked my maid, and she's not getting because of some bureaucratic problem with her ration card. So I just wanted to know. That's hardly a sample to go by. But Dr. Sen, the other part of the question. Do 81 crore people need free grains in this country? 65% of the people need this crutch?
That is difficult to say, Lata. But the real issue, I think, is you have to remember the genesis and the fundamental logic of the PDS. The PDS was originally not designed as a crutch. What it was designed was as a means of meeting a situation of perennial shortages in food availability. Now, that can still happen. And if one dismantles the system because we don't think there is utility in it, then when the need arises, if there is an adverse weather event which is substantial enough to reduce the overall availability of food grains, we are in trouble. So just keeping the PDS alive and functioning, it has to be kept functioning, I think has a utility of its own. And that is something we really should not lose sight of.
Okay, fair enough. Dr. Hussain, what is your sense? Do you think that we need to, narrow the focus at least? Because my hunch would be, yes, we have poverty, but 65% seems, too many.
I agree that there is a need to conduct identification yet again of people who deserve food grains at highly subsidized rates. I do not think we should be giving anything free at all, but there is a need. In fact, several committees of the government and the economic surveys year after year have been arguing that there is a need to bring it down. But for that, we need much more data, consumption expenditure survey, poverty headcount. And I do not know if Niti Aayog is prepared to do all that exercise and invite objections from certain quarters. But yes, I do think that there is a need to save some money from food subsidy and invest it in agricultural research so that we find seeds and technologies suitable to withstand drought, floods, climate events, etc.
Yeah, there is a strong argument also that we should go beyond food and provide other things rather than expend too much money only on food, assuming that 65% don't need it. Harish Damodaran, what is your sense about the ability to withdraw this? Because the free food is available only till December 2023. Do you think it's going to be politically difficult to bring back the 3-2-1 regime?
I think it's neither politically nor economically desirable. See, frankly speaking, I think we can sustain 48 to 54 million tons of free food. It's something like, say Britain, your national health scheme. I think we can sustain this. It's not difficult, you know. I mean, the problem comes I think 5 kg per month. I think we can easily sustain.
No, the extra expense actually is only 40,000 crore.
That we cannot sustain.
Yeah,
but
no, I take your point.
It is worth sustaining.
All right, fair enough. So let's not make it a political argument at all. Dr. Sen, now for the fisc. Do you think the fisc badly needed this trimming back? Because, you know, it was like 3 lakh to 3.5 lakh crore a year is, you know, something that was anyway unsustainable. So the fisc required this to be trimmed.
Well, it did. I mean, it was unsustainable, and had it been carried on for very much longer, it would have been seen as an entitlement.
Okay.
So when PMGKAY was originally announced, it was announced as a temporary measure, and it has been pushed as such. But the longer it stays around, the more difficult it becomes to withdraw it. And I think all of us on the panel agree that it needed to be withdrawn, and this is probably the opportune time to do it, whether or not the fisc was able to bear the cost.
Okay, fair enough. Then what a final set of questions to all of you, and the same question. Are we at an ideal situation now, or do you think the system also now needs to be tweaked? Dr. Sen first.
Well, I think it does. I think it does need to be tweaked. You know, the fact of the matter is that the entire procurement and public distribution system had emerged in a particular context. That context has changed dramatically over the years, right? And I am not sure that at the moment people value the food grain supply from the government the way we used to value it 30, 40 years ago.
Yeah.
Now, if that is the thing, then both politically and in terms of what the system needs may have changed, and we're simply not paying attention to it. How you sell it is a political problem, because that's relatively more difficult to do.
Okay.
But if you have a compelling enough argument, I think people may actually buy it.
Okay. FYI, I have stood in a line for sugar some decades ago. So yes, we all need, and palm I remember, you know, for one Diwali. Dr. Hussain, do you think, therefore, this is not really a PDS issue, but a procurement issue? We have not solved this farm laws, compulsory procurement of everything that's produced, and that is distorting our food distribution system. So the problem is not to solve the distribution, but actually the procurement policy. Would that be fair?
No, the problem is at both ends. We cannot say that distribution is not a problem and only procurement is a problem. Also, Lata, we must remember that the rice being exported from India, non-basmati rice, quotes $40–50 a ton less than the similar quality of rice exported from Pakistan and Thailand. Many economists have written that this could be due to leakages from PDS. Despite all the improvement Mr. Harish Damodaran is talking about, we do not know the extent of leakage because there is no recent study done by the government evaluation of the PDS.
Okay. Harish, I have just less than a minute for you. Your thoughts on what needs to be tweaked? Procurement, PDS?
Well, obviously, I would like, some kind of a cap on procurement, you know. I think we cannot sustain so much of procurement of rice and wheat. So definitely, I would like some kind of a crop diversification, you know, and I think we need to now move from, you know, this open hunger to, you know, hidden hunger, you know, especially, you know, a lot of, you know, micronutrient deficiency, etc. So I would definitely like, you know, maybe not the PDS, but definitely say schools, you know, and other kind of, you know, nutrient schemes, you know. So I think 5 kg of grain per person is fine, you know, and let it be capped there, you know. We don't need anything more. But definitely, I would like, you know, the poor and this thing to consume more milk, more pulses, you know, more millets, you know, more. I think we need to move there, you know. And this itself is a great achievement, you know. The fact that we are able to give even 5 kg for the most vulnerable. I think we should not underestimate
absolutely.
what it was.
Absolutely.
Like 30 years back, what it was.
Absolutely. Out of time, Harish. I take your point entirely.
Legacy, I think, and this legacy we should protect. I mean, according to me, this is something which should be protected by itself.
Harish, I got that point. I'm sorry I'm out of time, but I take your point that all of you are in agreement that this 5 kilos is absolutely necessary and that we have to go to the other parts of the National Food Security Act, lactating mothers, undernourished children, midday meal schemes, all of which we haven't achieved. But a separate debate is called for on this open procurement, which is an issue in itself. That's taken 3 years of this government and not much has happened. We wrap up on this edition of Indianomics. Thank you very much for joining us.